Right, so we talked about the active cells, and people, it's better you write about this particular thing because like sometimes they may ask about this, right? So let's write it with the heading of yeah, I'll give you a heading, right? So you write the heading like this. So the heading for this particular table, the heading should be the row and column specifications, the row and column specifications. Then after, you can write the highlighted part, the row and column specifications. Put that heading, then you can go for this. So it explains how the Microsoft Excel 2003, it's an older version, and how the Microsoft Excel 2007, 2010 versions have, and how the LibreOffice Calc 4.1, which is an open source software, how many number of rows and number of columns it is being consist, right? So put the heading. Can you tell it again? Yeah, it's the heading is the row and column specifications. The row and column specifications. Then the highlighted part should be written. The row and column specifications, that is the heading. Right, and meanwhile, people, I have a particular message for you to give. Hereafter, the institute has taken a decision for you to inform, like when you are participating to the meeting, you have to put your admission number, or like the number that is called on your card, which is given by the Nanapetha. There is a particular number, and that number and with your first name, right? That is the way that you are going to connect, right? So they are marking the attendance from this point onwards, right? So it is very easy for them to identify from your card number plus the first name. So please change your names, rename your names like that. So hereafter, please, when you are connecting to the session, please have it your number and the first name, right? Dihan, yes. So we are writing this. Even now, you can change the name and the particular number, like I can see most of you are changing the things now, right? So please have your admission number, or like the number that is holding on your card, and the first name, right? And Dihan, we have started the things. So I asked to write down this particular table with the heading of the row and column specification. The heading should be that, the row and column specification. Under that, this highlighted part should be written.
Daddy, don't waste water. Always.
It's you.
No, don't waste.
People, let me know when you are done. Right. And thank you for the quick response. Some of you have put the admission number, but some of you are not. Yeah, others, please change your name, rename your name according to the card number which is given by the Nanapetha, right? So it is easy for them to mark your number and the name, right? And I can see someone, Harshana Chaturanga. Puta, please rename your name with the card number, Puta, right? And yeah. Ranuja, I can see only 3 numbers of your. Is it only 3 numbers? Puta? Or if it, I think it's contains 4 digits. So it's better you add the missing digit. And who are the other people? Chamat Laksandu, Aisha, Dasit, Kaushika, Netmira, Pramod, Tiranya, Vinet, Vatila, and Yadisha. Yeah. Please rename your names, Putala Duala, with the admission number at the front, then your first name. So it will be easy for them to mark your name, right? Everyone, please do the changes. That will be very much easier, all right? Okay. Right. Putala, please have it at the front. Number should be at the front, right? Then your first name. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට download කරගන්න පුළුවන් එක සැරේ එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට lazy එක system එකට feed කරගන්න, right? So have the number at the front, then the name, right? Yes, yes. Yeah, another 3 to go. Dolapatala, please rename it. Dasit Maduranga, please add your admission number. And Pramod Totahevage, please add your admission number to the front, Puta, so they can mark the names properly. And are we done? Okay, that's it. Puta, you can call the institute and do the registration. So register it as quickly as possible, right? Yes, Dihan, screen එක තියෙන එක පොතේ ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ. And Pramod, yes, Pramod, Puta, if you are participating in my home class, you don't need to come to this class, Puta.
A circle. Can you make a circle?
Pramod, you really don't need to visit this, Puta, if you are like participating participating my class at home. So you should choose either of those, Puta. Otherwise, institute will face the problem, right? In my class, I have done the in the class that I'm doing at home. We are done with the Excel. So like just decide which class that you are going to connect and inform me. So if you are deciding to connect with the Nanopatha class, it's better you inform the Nanopatha and get registered, right? And if you are in my class at home, so you don't need to connect with this, right? Right. Are we done, people? Dihan, we usually connect the printer with the computer with the USB cable. So you have to ask specifically USB cable for printer, right? Because the ports are a little bit different. Computer ka පැත්තට connect වෙන එක USB cable එකක්. අනිත් පැත්තට connect වෙන එක තියෙන්නේ වෙනම port එකක්, right? Okay, are we done, people? Can we move forward? Right, okay, so we are moving forward.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Dua.
Sir, I got kind of late for the class, so can you explain this again?
Yeah, Dua, since we have done the recording and we are still like we are running with the time, can you please refer the recording, Dua? It is not just we haven't discussed about this, Dua, like it is just the general stuff that we have talked through the last few days. So we are just noting them down, how many rows and columns are there. Like we didn't discuss anything regarding this. So we are just scrolling down the page and writing down the important parts, Dua. So like we didn't do any specific explanation regarding this because we have talked about this like a week or two back. How many number of rows are there, like how many number of columns are there, likewise. So we didn't discuss anything though. We are just copying the things to your book, right? So only thing you need to do is like have the heading for this, like saying the rows and the column specifications, and then you have to copy down this table. That's all. That's all we have copied for today. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. Right. So moving forward, yes. Yeah, it's better you write this scoring in a worksheet things. So I'm highlighting it, scoring in a worksheet, and write these key combinations, people. So it will be easier for us. Yeah, that's it. Please register as soon as possible. And there is another one, Dinuka. Oh, yeah, I think it's Dinuka. Dinuka, can you add your admission number to the front of your name, Puta? Can you rename the name so they can mark things?
Okay.
Right. So that's it. I'll send your name to the academy that saying that you have not registered yet, Puta. So it's better you call as soon as possible. Do you got the number with you in the Nanapati Institute? All right. Okay, that's it. Just call and do the registration. That's all, Puta, right? let me know when you are done, right? Patala, someone's mic is on. Can you please mute that? Okay, one is done. How about others? Right, one is done. How about others? Two are done, okay. Right, okay, Gavindu, no problem. Finish it up as soon as you can. Okay, can we move forward, people? Is there anyone still writing this? Right. Okay, so let's move forward. We talked about the cell addresses, so no need to write about that. We know about this range of the cells. We are going to use those things when we are doing the formulas. So no need to have that. And yeah, regarding the entering of data. So yeah, put this as the heading, and you have to copy the very first line, then put number 1 and copy this particular line. Right, it is talking about the labels. We have talked about this. We talked about that the things that contains the text is going to align as left. Things that contains only the numbers or the number types are going to align to its right. So the text types are called labels and the number types are called the values. Later, there is a third type called the formulas. That is what we are going to write or like learn today, right? Let me know when you are done, people. Right, one is done. How about others? Right, 2 are done. 3 are done. Is there anyone still writing this? Okay, so let's move forward. You can write about the values then after, right? So have this values. Have the heading, don't miss it. Second one, value, the data, and continue. Okay, are we done, people? Oh, yes. Is there anyone still writing this? Right, so let's move forward. So the next one is the formulas. I want you to write it, then we can discuss it, right? So the third one, formulas. And yeah, so you have to write it from here to here. Then we are going to see what is a formula, what kind of a thing is formula. Okay, one is done. How about others? Okay, so we are going to move to the practical side, right? Is there anyone still writing this? Okay, so let's move to the practical. Okay, so far we know people, we have learned there are labels like this, which is left aligned in the cell, and the values like this, which is right aligned in the cell. And you can remember, once we select that particular cell, you can see the contents on the formula bar, right? As you can see now. So I have written ABC on the A1 cell, and you can see the same ABC on the formula bar. And I have written 1, 2, 3. Once I select this B1 cell, you can see the same 1, 2, 3, the same value on the formula bar. So now I'm going to write you a formula on a cell, and let's check whether it is going to have, let's check whether it is going to behave the same way on the formula bar, right? So here we go. Now remember, any formula, now these formulas are going to be divided into two parts, people, right? It's going to be equations, api sinhalen kinawa samikarana, right? And there are some functions. Sinhalen api kinawa shrita here, right? So regardless of a function or a particular equation, we always start that kind of things by using an equal sign, right? So that is the golden theory for the formulas. We started with the equal sign. Then after, I'm going to show you a very small sample of formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm writing equal 12 plus 3, right? So now mathematically, you know 12 plus 3 is going to equal to 15, right? 12 plus 3 is equals to 15, right? So that is the motive, or that is the result that I'm expecting from this formula. So still I have my cursor is inside this C1 cell. You can see it is blinking. So I haven't pressed the enter button so far. Now I'm going to press the enter button of my keyboard. Look closely, there is a difference, or like there is something is going to change on the C1 cell, right? Here I'm pressing the enter button. Yeah, what has happened? Now you can see on the cell C1, you can see the value 15, but it is not the thing that we have written on the cell. What we have written, it is equals 12 plus 3. And if you look into the formula bar, look what has happened. So you can see 15 on the C1 cell, and you can see equal 12 plus 3 on the formula bar. Now, that is why this is called the formula bar. Formula bar's purpose is showing the formula if there is a 1 inside any particular cell. And in the previous cases, in the A1, we didn't have any formula inside it. So it shows the content. In the B1 cell, again, we don't have any formula inside it. Because of that, it shows us the content. But in the C1 cell, now we got a formula inside it. So because of that, it is showing us what is the formula inside the C1 cell, right? Is that clear, people? Why the formula bar is there and how it behaves with the formulas? Right, great. And Like when it comes to the formulas, now inside this formula, the formula that we have done. So now there's another special thing. If you double click on a particular cell which contains a formula, double click. Now here I have given a single click, so it's selected. If I double click on this, you can see the formula that I have typed inside it, right? So here I'm going to double click it. Now you can see the formula. If I press enter, again, it shows me what the answer is. So now in the formula, as I told you, we started using the equal sign. Then we use a value, which is 12. Then we use a plus. Now this plus in the Excel, they are named as the operators, right? Now, even for mathematics, you are using different kinds of operators: addition, subtractions, multiplication, division, right? Powers, those kind of things. Even in here, we are going to use those kind of operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the exponential, or in simple words, the power, right, to the powers. So those kind of things are going to have priorities, like you have experienced and you have discussed in your mathematics subject as with the term of BODMAS, right? So you say brackets, right? Then decimals, multiplications, addition, and subtractions, right? BODMAS. So we are learning BODMAS because there is a way that an equation is going to solve, right? And if you are going to use a particular operator over here, then you are going to use the same priorities according to the Excel, right? So what are these operators and what are the priorities of those, right? It is clearly mentioned in your book. So let's move to your book again. So these are the mathematical operators that you are going to use, and these are nothing new for you in here, right? You know, addition, subtraction. And for multiplication, we are not going to use a cross. We are going to use a star, because cross indicates the X, right? So it's going to be a conflict. If we use the X kind of a symbol, then we cannot figure out whether it is the letter X or the multiplication. So because of that, we use the star. And for division, we are using the backslash. And this is the exponential, right? So I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing it in a wrong way. It says exponentiation. I'm sorry, right? So for exponentiation, it's a symbol like this, right? So these are the only symbols that you have to by heart, but there are many different operators in the Excel where they are using those things for many different purposes. But for yourself, for your syllabus, these are the operators that you need to follow. And again, when you are having the brackets are superseding all these operators. Supersede කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ පහු කරලා ඉහළටම එනවා කියන එක, right? So in mathematics, we goes with the same theory, right? Brackets gives the highest priority when it is come to a formula, right? So the priority list or the precedence is given like this. So first we consider the brackets, then we consider the exponentiation, then we are going to consider the multiplication and the division. Those are on the same level. And then we are going to consider the pluses and minuses, or like the addition and the subtraction. So it is very parallel to your mathematical operations and the mathematical doings, right? And I'll show you what is actually happening with these operators. Bihan, I'm going to come to your question, right? So why these, like, what are the things that we can do with these operators? So it is very easy for you to illustrate those things, right? Now, if I write here equals 5 minus 2, it's going to give me 3. So the subtraction, if I say equals 3 star 2, it's going to give me 6. 3 into 2 is 6. If I say equals 10 divided by 5, it's going to give me 2. And the last, the exponentiation or the power. So if I have like 5 to the power 2, right? So that is what it mentioned, right? So the power, so 5 to the power 2 equals what? 25, right? So it's going to be 25, right? So likewise, those operators works accordingly, right? So this is for the power, this is for the division, this is for the multiplication, and you know the subtraction and the addition, right? All right. And since we are considering about the precedence or the priorities of these operators in this manner, in this order, there are ways that this particular equation is going to solve, right? This is very familiar for you with the mathematical equations as well. So I'm going to explain how it happens. There is a very nice example in your book with this particular table. It is on the page number 201, right? So in page number 201, table 7.6, it illustrates clearly what happens with the operators when we are having like different kinds of operators in our equation. So if you consider the very first equation, it says 5 plus 2 into 3 exponentiation 2 divided by 6 minus 3. So all the operators are here: addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and the exponentiation, right? So who got the first priority? Since they don't have the brackets, it's going to be the power or the exponentiation, right? So first it calculates 3 to the power 2. That is why it has become 9 over here. Then after, it has multiplication and division, both. So as you can remember, multiplication and division is going to have the same level of priority. Since these two operators have the same level, the priority is given to the leftmost one. The leftmost one is given the highest priority. So multiplication is at the left of the division. So that means from the left, when we are moving to the right, first we meet the multiplication. So we perform the multiplication. So 2 into 9 is equals to 18. Then after 18 divided by 6 will happen, because it is the division is the operator which has the priority from addition, division, and the subtraction. So 18 divided by 6 will give you 3. Then after, you again going to receive pluses and the minuses. That means the addition and the subtraction. So again, leftmost one is going to have the highest priority because plus and minus signs has the same level of precedence. So for that, 5 plus 3, 8 will be given. Then after 8 minus 3, 5 will be given as the answer. Is that clear, everyone? Can I have the confirmation? Okay. Right, okay. Right. And again, people, if you got any problem regarding the things that I am describing, you can always ask the questions, right? You know how the drill in our classroom. Now look at the second equation. It's the same operators, same kind of values, but additionally, they have used brackets. And in between, we have 6 minus 3. Earlier, 6 minus 3 was like without the brackets. Now it is within the brackets. Now, since the brackets are there, brackets are going to be considered first because brackets has the highest priority. So because of that, 6 minus 3 will happen. So it will give you 3. Then after 3 to the power 2 happens. Then after 2 into 9 happens. Then after 18 divided by 3 happens. Then the addition is going to happen, right? So the answer, it's a completely different one, even though we has the same value in the equation. So the operator precedence matters, people, right? So because of that, for this particular equation, 11 is going to be the answer. And the third example describes, it's a completely different kind of equation, right? And there you got division, multiplication, subtraction, power, and the plus. So first thing, the power will happen. So 2 to the power 3, 8 will be formed. And then the division will happen because it is before the multiplication, or like we find it first when we are going from the left to right. So 8 divided by 2, 4 will be formed. Then 4 into 3, 12 will be formed. Then 12 minus 8 is happened. Still again, minus comes first when it comes to the plus and minus. Minus is found first from the left to right. So 12 minus 8 happens, 4, then 4 plus 5 happens, then 9 is given as the answer, right? So this is the way how the operators are going to operate in the in the Excel, right? Is that clear, everyone? Yes, people, is that clear? Right, great, brilliant. Okay, now you have a homework today. This is your homework. And remember, I'm going to discuss these things. Discuss means I'm going to ask the answers from each one of you randomly, right? So prepare the answers. There are 15 questions. So you have to try these by your own. And my advice is, do not try to type this on the Excel and try to take the answer, because these kind of questions will be there in your exam paper. So in that cases, you will be able to do the calculation by yourself by remembering what's the precedence of the operators. So please try it by your mind, right? And keeping the things in your mind, right? I don't really need the workings. So you can do the workings in your book. It doesn't matter, right? Yes, Dihan, you can do it on your writing book as the homework, right? It's in the page number 201. So by next week, I'm going to start the session by taking the answers for each and every question from you, right? So do it as a homework, and I'll ask for the answers by next week, right? So please mark it, don't forget it, right? It is for your own good that I'm giving these things. So just try it, right? So with that, I'm going to move to the formulas with cell addresses, right? දිහාන් ඉඩ තියන්න ඕනේ නෑ පුතේ. අපි නෝට් එක ලියාගෙන ඉවර වෙලා වෙන තැනින් homework විදියට කරගෙන යන්න. No problem. Right? Okay, so then formulas with cell addresses and operators. Now, how these formulas with cell addresses and operators are going to work? Now, so far, what we have done is, we have written the formulas in the manner of, like in the formulas, we have used the concrete values. What we call these concrete values, they cannot be changed, right? 12 is 12, 3 is 3. So those are called concrete values, right? Fixed values, right? So now Excel is not here to deal with concrete values. Excel is here to deal with the values which are changing frequently, right? We make use of those kind of formulas vastly in the practical world, right? So instead of these kind of formulas, I can make use of this Excel into a different kinds of things, like this one. Now I take num1 as this line and num2 as this line, and I take this as total, right? So my purpose, my need is, I need to put two values in, in these cells, which is E2 and F2, and I need to take the total in the G2 cell, right? So if I put 20 over here and 30 over here, we know the 50 is going to be the answer. So far with the knowledge that we have gained, we can write it in this particular manner. Equals 20 plus 30. So it will gives us the 50. So it's the addition of these two numbers. But in case if I change this into a 10, so then again I have to change my formula over here. But we really don't need to do it like this. Excel is providing us to refer the values inside the cells using their address, using their cell addresses. So we know what is a cell address means, like each and every cell got an address. So instead of writing the concrete value inside our formula, we can write the cell reference, right? So what do I mean by the cell reference? Since I need to have the addition of these two cells, which is E2 and the F2, I just key those values over here. So I say equal E2 and add it up with the F2. So it clearly shows what are the cells that we are going to refer. So if those cells contain values, it is going to add and show us the answer, right? If I press enter, you can see it's 40. And the beauty of this is if I change the values over here, if I type 20, my answer is going to change as 30. See, for any value, if I put 1000, it's going to be 1020. If I put 200 over here, so it's going to be 1200. So if I put decimal values like 34.67 plus 24.98, so it's going to show me the value exactly how it's going to be. So what we have done, instead of using the concrete values, we use the cell which contains that value, right? And it's very easy for us to write something like that. Only thing that you need to know is where the value is going to reside. Yes, Dihan, අපි කරේ මෙතන මේ total එක හම්බෙන තැන total එක ගන්න ඕන අගයන් ටික කොතරද තියෙන්නේ කියලා සෙල් එක රිෆර් කරලා කියපු එක. දැන් මගේ 34.67 තියෙන්නේ පුතේ E2 කියන සෙල් එකේ. 24.98 තියෙන්නේ F2 කියන සෙල් එකේ. එතකොට මම මේ values දෙක එකතු කරන්න කියනවා වෙනුවට මම මෙතන ලිව්වා E2 කියන සෙල් එකේ තියෙන අගය එකතු කරන්න F2 කියන සෙල් එකේ තියෙන අගයත් එක්ක. එතකොට මම formula එක ලිව්වා equal E2 plus F2. So it's going to give me the answer by considering the values of these two cells, which I asked to consider in my formula, then add those things up and show me the answer. And you can use all the operators as we learn in any cell you want to take any answer you want, right? Now, in case if I need to have the average into the H2 cell of these two numbers, I'm going to key equals, I need brackets. So I say E2 plus F2, then I'm going to divide it by 2. And why did I use brackets? If I do not use the brackets, my formula is going to give me an incorrect answer. It's not going to be the average. It's going to give me F2 divided by 2, then add with the answer, add with the value with E2. That is not what you call average. If we are finding the average of two numbers, we should add those two numbers together. Then we have to divide it by 2. Right? That is the way that you are going to find the average. So if I type it like this and press enter, right after it's going to give me the average, 29.825. Like if we give something very simple like 10 and 20 over here, I can see total as 30, average as 15. And there is no rule that you have to write the formulas right adjacent to the values that you are going to refer. You can write the formula in any place you want. Only thing that you need to do is refer the correct cells, right? So if you want to take the addition of 10 and 20 over this particular cell, Just write equals E2 plus F2. So it clearly shows you what are the cells that you are going to refer. Then press enter, it's going to give you the same answer. And if I change anything, it's going to change two places now. The total in here, G2, and the total in here in G6. Once I press enter, this becomes 40, this becomes 40 again, and this becomes 20 automatically. So you can see how useful the very practical situation that we are using these particular things as teachers when we are like making our mark sheets on your term tests, right? So all the class teachers are going through this. So they just lay the marks of all the students of class. Then they are just having the totaling, average, ranking, all these things using the Excel. So it is very easy. Before the Excel, it needs to be done by the teacher manually. Total calculate right? Now it's just a matter of like putting the marks for each and every subject. So it's automatically update what is the total, what is the average, who has the ranks, and if we need to categorize the things, the people who have take the marks lower 50, in between 60 and 40, in between 60 and 80, that is also very possible, right? Because there is a huge help from the Excel called the functions, right? Which is capable of, which is giving the capability to do more kind of things using the formulas. දිහාන average එක ගන්න එක අපි තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ mathematics වලින්. අපිට numbers දෙකක average කරන්න කිව්වොත් පුතා ඒ numbers දෙක එකතු කරලා දෙකෙන් බෙදන්න ඕනේ. numbers තුනක average කරන්න කිව්වොත් තුනම එකතු කරලා තුනෙන් බෙදන්න ඕනේ. right? එතකොට මම මෙතන average එක calculate කරන තැන මුලින් E2 and F2 එකතු කරගත්තා. ඒකයි ඒක වරහන් ඇතුලේ දාලා තියෙන්නේ. වරහන් නොතිබ්බනම් F2 කියන එක්කෙනාව දෙකෙන් බෙදලා එන උත්තරේට E2 කියන එක එකතු කරනවා. එතකොට average එක එනවා වැරදි. right? එතකොට අපි average සාමාන්‍ය අගය හොයනවා කියන්නේ E2 and F2 එකතු කරා දෙකෙන් බෙදුවා numbers දෙකක් නිසා. අපිට numbers තුනක average හොයන්න කිව්වොත් තුන් දෙනා එකතු කරලා තුනෙන් බෙදන්න. right? So those kind of things can be done using the what you call the formulas. Okay, people, is it clear how these cells are being referred? Yes, everyone. So it's a simple thing. Yes, Kavindu. You can use any type of operator. G2 divide by 2, G2 divide by E2. If you got the values in the referring cells, you can use it as any way you want. Right? All right. Now, do you remember we talked about how the values are going to change when we are copying things using the fill handle? Do you remember that? Like we recognize the fill handle like week or 2 weeks ago. So we know like when we are like copying the things from the fill handle, it will copy the same way, right? But if I'm going to copy a formula, now this particular G2 has the formula which says equals E2 plus F2. If I'm going to copy this using the fill handle, it acts in a different manner, people. Right? Just see. I'm going to copy it one particular line below. Okay, so it gives me an answer like 0. And if you look closely, so 40, this particular cell, the G2 cell contains the formula equals E2 plus F2. And this 0 is going to contain equals E3 plus F3. So it's a different formula, right? Here we got E2 plus F2. Here we got E3 plus F3. Something different, right? Sometimes you may feel there is a connection in between this, right? We are going to talk about it, right? දිහාන් පුතේ මට ඔයා කියන එක හරියටම ක්ලියර් නෑ පුතේ. මයික් එක ඔන් කරලා කියන්න. පුතා අහන්නේ ෆෝමියුලා එකක් එඩිට් කරන එක ගැන මං හිතන්නේ. right? අපිට එඩිට් කරන එක පුතේ මෙහෙම ඩබල් ක්ලික් කරලා you can move the cursor and do the changes. No problem. right? cell එක ඩබල් ක්ලික් කරන්න ඕනේ පුතේ. ඩබල් ක්ලික් කරාම තමයි ඔයාට ෆෝමියුලා එක පෙන්වන්නේ. සිංගල් ක්ලික් එකක් දුන්නම ෆෝමියුලා එක පෙන්වන්නේ නැහැ. right? single click එකක් දුන්නම it is just the value that you can see. Once you double click on it, you can see the formula. Right, okay, right. So once you if you put a single click, it's just the value that you can see. If you double click, then you can see the formula, then you can edit. Or else you can just give a single click and go to the formula bar. From here you can change it. මෙතන click කරලා වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මෙතන click කරපු ගමන් ඔයාගේ sheet එකේ formula එක display වෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. right? So the same thing that you can do. right? So what we were talking about is like when we are like copying the formula to somewhere else, it changed. right? If I copy this and if I paste it right over here, like in the D8 cell, it's going to give me 0. And once I select this, my formula on the formula bar is something different, B8 plus C8. Earlier in here, it was E2 plus F2. Now here it is B8 plus C8. All right, so it changed. So this particular change in method, or like the change in nature, is called the relative references. right? මෙහෙම change වෙන එකට අපි කියනවා relatively change වෙන නැත්නම් relative reference එකක් තියාගන්නවා කියලා. Now what is this relative reference? That is what we are going to talk about now. right? Okay, so to do this, I'm going to clear this up. All right. And here I'm going to show you the relative cell reference. Now I'm going to write an equation over here saying equals E10 plus G15, right? E10 plus G15. Now once I press enter, I will take 0 because I don't have anything on E10 as well as nothing is there in G15, right? So what I'm going to show you is what happens to this formula when we are copying the formula to several different places, right? So to do this, I'm going to show you the formula itself on this cell. right? මේ cell එකේ තියෙන formula එක අපිට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් තැනක් තියෙනවා. It is in the formula bar. In these tabs, go to the formula tab. And inside the formula tab, there is a command called show formulas. Inside the formula ribbon or formulas tab, there is something called show formulas. So once you click on the show formulas, you can see the formula that you have written in any particular cell. ඔයාගේ Excel sheet එකේ කොහෙද ඔයා formulas ලියන්නේ හැම එකක්ම මේ විදිහට පෙන්නනවා. මේ show formulas කියන එක enable. right? If then you can see it is being highlighted. Once we click on that again, that facility is being disabled, right? So I click on this. So now you can see the formulas. So with this, we are going to talk about what happens to the formula when we are copying these particular things, right? Now look closer. This is very important because these kind of things can be tested in your test paper, right? So hear it very clearly, right? So to show these things, I'm going to consider these 4 cells, right? So it will illustrate you how this is going to change. So for my convenience, I'm going to have 4 different colors for these cells, right? So yeah, so now we are going to copy this formula to these 4 cells. And why did I choose these 4 cells? There is a reason. It is because this formula is in the D column. So this blue color cell and the orange color cell stays on the same column, right? One is at the top of the formula and one is at the bottom of the formula. And this ash color and the green color cells, those are in the same row of the formula. One is at the left side of the formula and the other one is at the right side of the formula. So what I'm going to illustrate you is what happens to this, what's happened to this formula once we copy it to the above, or like towards top of the column and towards down of the column. We are going to see what is happening. And then I'm going to show what happens when we are copying it to your left and to your right. And we are going to understand how the formula is going to change its behavior or its values when we are copying along to these particular places. Now, first of all, I'm going to copy this formula to this orange color cell. Now, how I'm going to copy it? I can copy it just by copying it using Control C. I can paste it using Control V, or else I can choose the what you call the fill handle and just drag it. Now look closely what is happening, right? Here I'm going to copy it using the fill handle. Here it goes. So the it is formatted like the previous cell. Let me make it the orange color one. Okay, people. Now what has been changed from D5 to D6? What has been changed? What is the component? Has it changed its letter? Yes, people? Is the letter has changed when you are copying it towards downward? Formula එකේ තියෙන letters change වෙලා තියෙනවද? ළමයි, you can see what has happened, right? Has the letters changed? No, it is not, right? Yeah, but only the numbers got changed. Like with what value? Like how it is being changed? 10 has become 11. 15 has become 16, right? So the numbers or the values are being changed by 1. And now for a cell, what does it indicate by the letter and what does it indicate by the value? In a cell reference, letter indicates what? The column headers, right? Like B, C, D, E kind of things, column headers. And the number indicates the row headers. So that is how a cell is being named, using the column header, then after the cell head. I'm sorry, using the column header, then after the row header. So when you are copying a formula down to a column, it increases the value. And how it is being increased? When you copy it one cell down, it increased by 1. Now I'm copying this over here. That means I'm going to copy it like 2 cells down. Now what has happened? 10 has become 12. 15 has become 17. So you can clearly see the number is increased by 2. No harm has happened. No change has happened for E and G, right? So that means if you are copying a particular formula downwards the columns, or like down to a column, it's going to change the number, or in other words, the row header. How it is going to change? How far you are going to go down, equal to that number of rows, the number is going to be changed. So like if you are like copying 2 cells down, your number will be increased by 2. If you are copying it 10 cells down, your number is going to be increased by 10. If you are copying it 100 cells down, your number is going to be changed by 100. Are you getting the point, people? Yes, everyone? Right. Okay. Brilliant. So now tell me, if I copy this formula over here, what it is going to be in this cell, D8, the cell that I have selected, the active cell. What's going to be the formula? Yes, what's going to be the formula? Very good, Ranima. Yeah. You should put the equal sign as well. It's going to be E13 plus G18. Very good. Right? Okay. If I copy it right over here, what should be the formula? Yes, what should be the formula? Yes, yes, Rosira. Equal E16 plus G21. Very good. Lots of you are being answered to questions. Well done, people. Everyone is correct. Everyone is correct. Very good. Right? So now you know the pattern. If we are copying downwards a column, it's not the letter that is going to change, but the number. What happens to the number? It increases. How far it is going to increase, or like from how it is going to increase? The number of, how many number of rows that we are going to go down, equal to that much of rows, the number will be increased. Right? So the right opposite is going to happen when we are copying it to the upwards of a column. Right? So then what should be the formula in this blue color cell? If we are copying to down, it increase. If we are copying to upwards, it's going to decrease. What is going to decrease? It's the number. So it's going to be, yes, very good, everyone. It's going to be 10 will become 9, 15 become 14. Nothing will happen to E and G, right? So that means you are going to have E9 plus G14. Let's see whether it is happening. Here we are going to copy this. Here I'm copying. Yeah, E9 plus G14. Simple as that. What should be the answer when we copy it to right over here to the D1 cell? Yes. Try it, people. Very good. Equals E6 plus G11. 10 will become 9, 8, 7, 6, and 15 will become 14, 13, 12, and 11. Tadara, I think you miss a 1, right? It's going to be E6 plus G11, right? Don't panic, people, right? And Tisat, I think you've gone wrong as well. right? Be careful. මොකද මේක කියලා දුන්නම ඔයගලන්ට හරි ලේසි වෙනවා මේ වැඩේ, right? So be very careful, right? Count කරලා ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. Right? 10 will become 9, 8, 7, 6. 15 will become 14, 13, 12, and 11. Right? So if I copy this over here, it's going to give me this particular value. It's going to be E6 plus G11. Is that clear, everyone? Right, great. Okay, now what's happened when we are copying it to the left and the right? Dihan, yes, Dihan, what's the problem? කොතනද පුතේ තේරුන්නේ නැත්තේ? Dihan, summary එක තමයි පහලට copy කරනකොට ඉලක්කම වැඩි වෙනවා. උඩට copy කරනකොට ඉලක්කම අඩු වෙනවා. එකම column එකේ. right? එකම column එක දිගේ පහලට වැඩි කරනකොට equation එකේ ඉලක්කම වැඩි වෙනවා. ඉහළට copy කරනකොට ඉලක්කම අඩු වෙනවා. Column header is not going to change. right? ඒක එහෙමම තමයි. right? රවින්දු copy කරන්න ගොඩක් ක්‍රම තියෙනවා නේද? අපිට පුළුවන් control C එක ගහලා control V එක ගහන්න copy paste word වල ඉගෙන ගත්තා වගේ නැත්නම් right click කරලා copy කරලා right click කරලා paste කරන්න පුළුවන්. fill handle එකෙන් copy කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. right? methods ගොඩක් තියෙනවා පුතේ. right? clear the ඔව් පුතේ ඔයාගේ 0 කියලා පෙන්නන්නේ දිහාන් ඔයා මේ ෆෝමියුලාස් වලට ගිහිල්ලා show formula කියන එක enable කරගෙන නැහැ. දැන් මම එහෙම කරගෙනනේ වැඩ කරේ. මම අර කතා කරනකොට මුලින් කිව්වේ ෆෝමියුලා එක පෙන්නන්න නම් formulas වලට ගිහිල්ලා formulas කියන ටැබ් එකට ගිහිල්ලා show formula කියලා ක්ලික් කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඔයාගේ පෙන්නන්නේ මේ විදිහට. show formula enable කරන්න. enable කරාම තමයි ඔයාට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ මේ. right? okay, right people, I want you to stay for another 5 minutes with me, right? Yeah, Rusiru, let's come to your question after the session, otherwise everyone have to stay, right? Api oka clear karagamu, right? okay, now quickly I'm going to show you what's happened when you are copying to your left and to your right. So the same one, this E10 G15, I'll make it as the I'll make it yellow, right? So I'm going to copy this to your right, right, to the E cell. See, look closely what is happening. What has happened? Now, who has been changed? Is it the letter or the number? Right? Okay, Dihan. What has been changed? Is it the letter or the number? It's the letter. Letter means what? The column header. Very good. Right? So how the letter has been changed? දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා pattern එක. එකකින් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. So E become F, G has become H. එතකොට අපි D column එකේ ඉඳලා E column එකටයි change උනේ. When you are changing, E has become F, G has become H. Has the number or the row header is changed? No. Right? Row header is not going to change since we are copying on the same column. එකම column එකේ copy කරන නිසා row header එක change වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? And now tell me what happens if we copy this particular formula, right? D5 into G5. මෙතනට આવොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? I'm copying this particular formula, which is in the blue. I'm copying this formula to here. What should be the answer? Yes, it's going to be H10 plus J15. Method, it's not J17 puta. Number is not going to change. It's only the letters that's going to change. Yeah. So when we copy it here, E will change how? It will become F over here, G over here, H over here. So E akura මේකේ තියෙන F G H කියලා change වෙනවා මෙතනට එනකොට. G akura මෙතන තියෙන H I J කියලා change වෙනවා මෙතනට එනකොට. So I'll copy it and I'll paste it. So it will become H10 plus J15. Right? Okay. People, now can you guess what happens when we copy it to your left? What should happen? මෙතනට ash color row එකට ආවම කවුද එන්න ඕනේ? Now you can think. I know you are smart enough to think like that. Yes, very good, Inupama. The letter is going to decrease. How it's going to decrease? By 1. So E will become D, G will become F. So it's going to be D10 plus F15. Right? Simple as that. See? You are very gettable. Very good. Right? Okay, now tell me what happens if I copy this formula in the yellow color. Over here, what should happen? What should happen? What should be the formula? I'm pasting it to A5. Yes, people? Yes, very good, Methula. Yes, it's going to be B10 plus D15. Very good. Very good. Right? So see, now we know what is going on, right? So if I summarize the things, if we copy a formula downwards a column, number is going to increase. If we copy it upwards a column, number is going to decrease. If we copy to a right on the same row, letter is going to increase. If we copy it to the left of the same row, letter is going to decrease. Right? So I think you got the idea very clearly, right? Very good, people, right? So when we copy this over here, it's the answer that you have told, equal B10 plus D15, right? Dihan, I think you have missed it by a letter. Or a letter එකත් අඩු කරලා තියෙනවා පුතේ. Letter එක මේ value එක අඩු කරලා තියෙනවා. Value is not going to change, right? Okay. Now a quick question to end the session, right? දැන් මේක හොඳට හිතලා උත්තර දෙන්න. I'm going to change this particular formula, right? I'll make it green color cell එකේ තියෙන formula එක. I'm going to copy it right over here to this red color cell. Green cell එකේ තියෙන කෙනා red cell එකට copy කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් එතන copy කරනකොට columns and rows both are being changed. Columns දෙකක් පිටිපස්සට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා, rows දෙකක් උඩට ගිහිලා තියෙනවා. So what should happen to the formula? Okay. Yes. What should be the answers? Binadi, slightly different. E එකත් එක්ක තියෙන value එක පොඩ්ඩක් change වෙලා තියෙනවා. Yes, Rusira. Yes, Tedara. Now that's the correct answer. Very good. Very good. And Anjana, that's the correct answer. Very good. Right. And Chanuri, dua letter eka miss vela tiyenawa. Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah, it's not the E people. එක පේලියක් නෙවෙයි පේලි දෙකක් උඩට ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා ගොඩක් කට්ටිය එක පේලියක් කියලා හිතාගෙන ඉන්නවා. මෙයා කොළ පාට එක්කෙනා මෙතන ඉන්නේ. පේලි දෙකක් උඩට ගිහිල්ලා මේ රතු පාට ගාවට එනකොට it's two cells being changed. So what should happen? What should happen? මෙතන හිටපු කෙනා columns දෙකකුත් පිටිපස්සට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා පේලි දෙකකුත් උඩට ගිහිලා තියෙනවා. අපි හිමිහිට මේක විසඳගමු. So equals මුලින්ම අපි අකුරු ගැන හිතමු. කොළ පාට සෙල් එකේ තියෙන E columns දෙකක් පිටිපස්සට එනකොට E become D and D becomes C. Right? And plus what's happened to the G? G become E and E become D, right? So it's going to be D. I'm sorry, my bad. G become F, F becomes E, my bad, right? So C and E are going to be the letters. It is because we are coming 2 columns backward. And what happens to the rows? 2 rows upwards. So 10 become 8, 15 is going to become 13, right? So your formula is going to be equal C8 plus E13. එතකොට මෙතන ඉන්න කෙනා මෙතනට යනකොට ඕක තමයි වෙන්නේ. E කියන එක්කෙනා C වෙනවා, G කියන එක්කෙනා E වෙනවා, 10 තියෙන කෙනා it's become 8, 15 is going to become 13. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Can I have the confirmation, please? Right, brilliant. Okay, you have stayed extra 10 minutes with me, so thank you very much for that, people. We are going to summarize this by next week with a nice diagram, right? So for today, I'm going to end the session from here. Right, so I'll meet you next week for the very same time. So we are going to learn about the relative reference. Later we have to learn about absolute reference, something called absolute reference as well. So thank you very much for staying late. Right, I really appreciate that, and have a very good night, people. I'm going to see you on next week for the very same time. All right, thank you very much, people. Thank you very, very much. Okay, people, thank you. Good night and stay safe. Yes.